Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Super Sports Central. Today, we have Week 17 NFL Power Rankings. So, going over last week's rankings and what those teams did in Week 16. Last week, at number 10, we had the Ravens. They beat the Falcons 17-9. 9 was the Giants. They lost to the Vikings 27-24. 8 was the Chargers. They defeated the Colts 20-3 on Monday Night Football. 7 was the Vikings. They beat the Giants 27-24. 6 was the Cowboys. They beat the Eagles 40-34. 5 was the 49ers. They easily beat the Commanders, winning 37-20. 4 was the Bengals. They beat the Patriots 22-18. 3 was the Bills. They rolled past the Bears, winning 35-13. 2 was the Chiefs, who beat the Seahawks 24-10. And 1 was the Eagles, who lost to the Cowboys 40-34. So this week's rankings, at number 10, I'm going to go with the Jaguars. They jump into my rankings, and they've been great recently. They beat the Jets on Thursday Night Football, and they're actually currently in first place, the AFC South, after the Titans lost. And as weird as it may seem, the Jaguars actually control their own destiny in the division, as they also face the Titans in Week 18, so if they win that game, they're going to be into the playoffs, most likely. And that game could definitely decide the division. And the Jaguars, they've been playing well lately. They've won 4 of their last 5. And they could surprisingly make the playoffs, but they enter it right now at number 10. Number 9, we have the Ravens. They move up 1 spot after defeating the Falcons. They clinched a playoff spot, so they don't have to worry about missing the playoffs without Lamar Jackson for the second season in a row, as they missed out last year. But they do need Lamar Jackson back, because he's what makes their offense good and dangerous. And the Ravens actually have 2 pretty big games to end the season, where they play 2 divisional opponents, the Steelers and the Bengals. So getting Lamar Jackson healthy would be huge. And also, even if he's not completely healthy, they just need to make sure he's good to go for the playoffs, because they might not win the division because of 2 tough games ahead, including one against the Bengals, which might end up deciding the division. But they just need to make sure Lamar Jackson's good to go for the postseason. But the Ravens, they move up 1 spot after beating the Falcons, and they enter at number 9. Number 8, we have the Chargers. So they got the win over the Colts on Monday Night Football. They were great defensively again. And I know they were playing Nick Foles, but they only allowed 3 points and sacked Foles 7 times. The Chargers also clinched a playoff spot with the win, and they'll be in the playoffs for the first time since 2018. They could be a dangerous team this postseason because they've been playing well and getting healthy at the right time. So while they might be like a 6 or 7 seed, don't sleep on the Chargers. They could definitely make some noise in the postseason. And the Chargers, they come in at number 8. Number 7, we have the Vikings. They were in at number 7 after their win over the Giants on a 61-yard field goal. Then they moved to a perfect 11-0 in one-score games this season. The Vikings continue to show that if they play a close game, they're able to make plays, whether it's offensively, defensively, or in this case, special teams on a 61-yard field goal, to put themselves in a position to win. In fact, the Vikings only have 1 win this season, where the game wasn't a one-score game. That was Week 1 against the Packers. But the Vikings, they continue to win close games, and they're going to remain at number 7. Number 6, we have the Cowboys. They beat the Eagles and kept themselves alive in the NFC East race, but they need to win out and the Eagles to lose out for them to have a chance at the division. But the Cowboys, they were great this week. They needed to do a lot. They were good, but they also were playing Gardner Minshew, so the Eagles were without Jalen Hurts, and it was still a very close game, 6-point game to be exact. But the Cowboys, they've remained at number 6. I don't think I could put them any higher because I do think there is a gap between the Cowboys and the top 5. And now, getting into the top 5, we have the 49ers at number 5. So they easily beat the Commanders. Brock Purdy continued to show he's a solid quarterback for the 49ers, throwing for 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, also an interception. And as usual, the 49ers were great on the ground and defensively. And the 49ers have won 8 straight games. It's probably the quietest 8-game win streak in the NFL, because you never hear anyone talking about how the 49ers have won 8 games in a row. But they've won 8 in a row, and they really have the ability to make it 10 in a row, with the last 2 teams on the regular season schedule being the Raiders and the Cardinals, both very winnable games. So the 49ers, they enter at number 5. Number 4, we have the Bengals. So they held off the Patriots' comeback attempt, and they held on to get the win. They were great in the first half, not great in the second half. The defense came up big once again, forcing a fumble to seal the victory. And the Bengals have a huge game coming up next week against the Bills. But right now, they come in at number 4. Number 3 is the Bills, the team the Bengals will be playing. That's going to be a huge game, one that's going to be probably extremely entertaining to watch. But the Bills, they destroyed the Bears this week to clinch the AFC East. Josh Allen wasn't great, but the Bills easily won the game, so obviously he did enough. He threw for 172 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. But the Bengals game next week could actually end up deciding the AFC number 1 seed, because it currently is Bills, Chiefs, Bengals, but both teams have beaten the Chiefs, the Bills and the Bengals. So now that could potentially decide the AFC number 1 seed. Number 2 is the Chiefs. They defeated the Seahawks. The defense was great, only allowing 10 points, and the offense has found more dangerous pieces outside of Travis Kelce. They've been very creative with how they've used their running backs, Jerick McKinnon and Isaiah Pacheco. And the Chiefs, they enter my rankings at number 2. And number 1 is the Eagles. I'm going to keep them at number 1 despite the loss. They were playing with their backup quarterback, Gardner Minshew. They still played a close competitive game against another great NFC team. And now the question for the Eagles moving forward next week is, do they play Jalen Hurts? Because they play the Saints. That's a game that you could probably win with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. And you could continue to sit Jalen Hurts, make sure he's ready to go for the playoffs. And if I'm the Eagles, I end up sitting Jalen Hurts just to make sure he's completely healthy for the postseason. So those are my Week 17 NFL Power Rankings. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of their upcoming videos. I do my best to post as often as possible. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of their upcoming videos. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my rankings, disagree, and why, and I will see you in the next video.